Hey everybody, Sheila Magalhaes here, Heartsong Yoga Center, East Longmeadow, Mass. And I am happy to be able to offer you those caregivers, grandparents raising grandchildren, a practice of mindfulness, breathing, stretching, gentle yoga, and an opportunity to take a little time out of the busyness of your day to access this practice and to hopefully feel supported, uplifted, rested, and ready to meet the demands of the day, whatever they may be, in a way that helps you to feel more centered, more balanced, and more at ease. I think that yoga and meditation and really learning to what we call pay attention on purpose is so essential for those who care for others. And you know what? That's really everybody, isn't it? We all have someone or something to care for. And sometimes it feels like we run a little bit on empty and that we lose sight of taking care of ourselves because we're so busy making sure that everybody else is cared for. Today, it's October 2020, we're facing extra challenges with the pandemic, which is continuing to be impacting our lives in pretty significant ways. So my absolute favorite quote that came through early on, probably back in April, was that we are all in the same storm, but we're not in the same boat. So it's really important to recognize that we cannot look around to see what other people are doing in order to judge how well we're doing, because we're all making it in our own unique and very individual ways. And what's happening in my household could be very different than what's happening in your household. But what I would expect is that we are all experiencing a very low level of simmering stress and anxiety. And as time goes by and the seasons change once again, only this time we're moving into the darker days of autumn and winter. And when this all began, we were in kind of a more sunny disposition where we knew that eventually school would end and summer's coming, and these crazy responsibilities of working online and doing virtual learning for our kids, and being worried all the time, do we have enough toilet paper and Lysol and groceries, that would be changing. But here we are. So let me offer to you a few of the yogic philosophies that really can help us to be more content and more accepting of where we are right now today. And the first one for me, which I think is the very biggest overlying kind of umbrella, is to bring in a sense of trust that all is well, that we are supported, that worrying about what's coming next will not change where we are right now. Wishing we could be back where we were last year, last 2 years ago, 6 months ago, that we cannot go back, and that right now where we are is where we need to be. Now that doesn't really help us when things are challenging and difficult and you want to be somewhere else, but acknowledging and noticing how often we do rush into the future, wishing for change, wanting it to be different, or yearning for the past as it was, it doesn't help us to be any more at ease with where we are. And where we are right now, in this moment, think about it, in this moment, all is well. You're safe, Probably you can have a full belly. You can have a cozy home. You can have love and care and compassion in this moment for yourself and for one another. And our yoga practices ask us to be here now, just this place, just this time. It's the only place we can be. To get there, we use the breath as an anchor. That's the anchor for meditation. It's the anchor for mindfulness. And quite literally, focus on the breath can help you to access the relaxation response, the opposite of fight or flight or freeze, which is the stress response. It can help you to calm and quiet the mind. It can help you to feel more spaciousness and more comfort in your physical, emotional, mental bodies, all the different parts of who we are. And it starts with being able to feel the breath and notice the breath. And we're breathing all the time because we're alive. So this little experiential video is going to be both some education and some what I call experiential movement, and to do the practice. So I could talk and talk and talk about the benefits, but let's do it together. So we've already spent about 6 minutes just kind of thinking about what is yoga and yoga philosophy. First, to be here now. Another is to practice nonviolence, which means to be conscious of your thoughts, your words, your deeds, and how you operate out in the world. To be kind to yourself, to be kind to one another. And learning to be the witness, the part of you that can observe how you're doing, the part of you that notices what's happening next, the part of you that's aware of the thoughts that go streaming through your mind's eye, because our brain is always busy. And learns to say to yourself, whoa, that's enough right now. I'm here, this is what I'm doing. Take one step at a time, take one breath at a time. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And let out a long and soothing sigh. Do that again. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And let out a long and soothing sigh. And what I'm going to do is retire back to my mat, where I'll sit on the floor, cross-legged, because that's comfortable for me. But you could just as easily stay seated in a chair, sitting on your couch. But what I will ask you to do is to think about how you hold your body so that you're upright and tall. So as I back up here, you should be able to hear me just fine. I'm using my earbuds, so that should be pretty good, and I hope that it is. And I will take myself to sit. And as you come to sit, cross-legged is a very traditional way to be in a yoga class. But it's perfectly fine to stretch your legs out or to have one leg out and the other knee bent, whatever feels good for you. And we'll take this breathing into movement as well. So if it's comfortable for you and you're sitting wherever, chair, couch, on the ground, imagine that there's a thread from the crown of your head lifting you up towards the sky. And the shoulders draw back, and the collarbones are broad and wide, and the heart just lifts a bit. Feel the places where your body's resting on the earth. And if it's comfortable for you, close your eyes or look soft past the tip of the nose. And then shift your breathing pattern so that it's in and out through the nose. You might even hear yourself breathe. On your face, a soft smile, like a Buddha smile, a secretive smile. The eyes heavy, closed, or looking soft past the tip of the nose. The brow is smooth. The shoulders fall away from your ears. Take a breath in. Breathe it out through the nose. Might even sound like a sigh or a whisper or a yawn. Relax the jaw. Take your hands, and if you need to watch me, watch me. Reach your arms out to a T position. If you want to just listen with your eyes closed, do that. Turn your palms so they face up. On an inhale, reach your arms up overhead. When you exhale, turn the hands down and reach your arms out over down and just touch the ground. Inhale, palms up, reach up. Through the nose, exhale, and arms reach out over down. We're going to move slowly, mindfully, paying attention to how you feel. Inhale, if you have a shoulder injury or an old sensitivity, maybe you just get partway up. Maybe only one arm goes up. That's all right. Exhale, hands out, over, and down. One more time, we call these sun breaths. Inhale, arms reach up, reach, reach, reach. Exhale, the hands out and over and down. Place your right hand on the ground. Lift the left arm up and stretch over to the side. If you're sitting in a chair, you could just put one hand down by the edge of the chair or on your lap and reach that left arm up and lean over to the side. So you're getting some movement in the side body, some space between the ribs, more room for breath. Inhale up, arms reach, put your left hand down, and the right arm up overhead. Back up, across, and over, and put your right hand down and reach, lifting your gaze this time and look up towards the ceiling. And then one more time, coming up and over. And notice where your mind is. If you go on autopilot, if you start thinking about what you're making for lunch or what your next appointment is, notice it and come back. Just be here now. Arms reach out, palms are down, and the palms turn up. Inhale, bring your arms up overhead. Grab your right wrist with the left hand and take that tug over to the left. Now, one way to give yourself some stability, some support, is to draw the belly in slightly. Draw your navel center in slightly. And that little bit of core strength, that little lift that you give is excellent for bringing in some toning to the abdominal area to support the low back. Inhale, come up, and exhale across. Quite often, we have back sensitivity. Right? Lots of Americans complain about back problems. A lot of people carry stress in their shoulders and upper backs. Hold it in the neck, and we even say that and be like, man, that is such a pain in the neck, and it truly, really feels that way. Bring your arms out over down and touch the ground. Take your left hand and bring it over to your right knee, and then look over your right shoulder. This is a twist. You might even feel a little satisfying little settle of the spine as you give a twist, and your internal organs love to squeeze. Going to the other side, because these twists and the way that we compress in the belly and the way we stretch forward and back help to bring in fresh blood supply, oxygen, energy to the internal organs, and it helps to support digestion, elimination, and that's detoxification. And then come back to the center. Now shrug your shoulders up to your ears, squeeze them back, and slide them down. And do it again. Bring your shoulders up to your ears, squeeze them back, and slide them down. Lean forward, tucking your chin and rounding down just until you feel a little bit of a stretch between your shoulder blades. And with your hands on your knees, inhale, bring yourself up and roll the shoulders back and look up, opening the throat. And the opposite is to roll forward, tuck your chin, squeeze it in slightly. And then inhale, come up, open the chest, open the shoulders, and look up. back to the center. Drop just your head down and place your fingers behind the back of your head. Lean in, curving your spine. Let the elbows fall in slightly. And pause just when you feel a little tug, a little pull back, and hold. Easy breathing, still in and out through the nose in that calming and quieting way. Then bring yourself up. Inhale. And as you exhale, tip back once again. We're slowly starting to irrigate the spinal column. Again, think about lubrication, circulation. That long line of energy that runs along the spinal column. All sensation and information travels there. Come forward and down once again and tuck. Maybe you'll go a little further. But the point is not that you have to continue to go further or be more complicated or make it more difficult. Instead, just enjoy the journey. Come back so that you're looking straight ahead. Elbows pressed back like wings. Frame your ears as you stretch your arms overhead with the fingers still laced together. And then flip the hands up, fingers still laced. And take that side to side stretch again. Caring for yourself. Another way to practice nonviolence is to be able to look inside as you're practicing. Watch your thoughts, watch the stories, and then send yourself, quite literally, love and kindness and appreciation for all of who you are, for all of what you do, and to recognize that it's enough, right? To just have that pause where all is well. You don't need to get anywhere, you don't need to make it happen, you just need to be. Separate your hands and float the arms out over down, and then gradually let the hands just rest in your lap. Eyes closed once again if you've opened them. And I'd like to just lead you through some breathing awareness. In and out through the nose. Of quieting the mind through this practice of yoga and meditation. And meditation also doesn't have to be very complicated. And maybe you can take just 2 minutes. 2 minutes to take a bit of a break and to notice how you feel and just have a pause. So I'm going to encourage you to just sit quietly and breathe in and out through the nose for 2 minutes. You don't have to do anything but be and breathe. I'll continue to guide you to be present. And as you breathe in through your nose, notice the quality of the breath. It's cool. It might feel velvety and soft. It slowly drops down to the back of the throat and into the lungs. Keep your face soft, at ease. When you exhale, the breath could be warmer. You might feel its warmth. When you exhale, your exhale could be a little bit longer than the inhalation. Just a little longer. We've gone 1 minute. See if you can get the breath into the deepest regions of your lungs so that you can fill from the bottom of the lungs to the top. And if you could imagine, in the most simplistic terms, 2 football-sized shapes of the lungs being full of breath. And the yogis would say life force, prana, and energy comes in with every breath you take. See if you can fill the fullness, the depths of those lungs all the way to the collarbones. Feels like the belly's breathing too. That's 2 minutes. deep breath in. Exhale and sigh. And just take a few moments with your eyes still closed, just to notice how you feel. The yoga practice and quieting and stopping for just a few minutes on a regular basis can help improve your mood, can help you change your mind, can help to be a bit of a reset or a redo, a do-over. You know, they say that everything works better when you turn it off, turn it back on, just like your devices. And you can do that too. Gradually letting your eyes come open. And we'll continue with our yoga practices. Let your hands come behind you and unfold your legs. So now if you're sitting on the floor, you're stretching the legs out. If you're sitting in a chair, you could just uncross ankles if they happen to be crossed and sit with your feet flat on the ground. And then we'll bend the knees and let both knees fall over to the right. And I hope you can be down on the ground because it feels really good. And then bring your knees up and across over to the other side. And then if it feels like it's too much to be down on the ground and you feel like you've done enough for now, that's perfectly fine. You've taken 15, almost 20 minutes to practice self-care. And that's a good practice, and it can be enough. But if you can be on the ground and join us, keep moving. And then bring the soles of your feet together. Hold your toes and let your knees rock up and down. Butterfly movements. And this is where I remember that kids love yoga, right? And if kids are doing yoga and they're doing a butterfly movement, they'll start to add wings. They'll add antennas. And they'll think of wonderful places that they'd like to fly to. Most of the kids that I work with say they want to go to Disney. I want to go to Florida. So if you have kids around who want to join you, get them down on the ground and have them join you. And just be playful. Keep it simple. Now come to stillness and lean forward a bit. And look way out in front of you on the ground, way out in front. This is called bound angle. And you press lightly towards the inner thighs. And most of us have a lot of tightness in the hips and thighs, or the hips and the groin area especially, and it has to do with how much sitting we do in our culture, how much sitting we do in our world, and even more and more now that so many people are working from home and kids are working from home, it's school, virtual learning, sitting, sitting, sitting. So it feels so good to stretch out through the hips, groins, and inner thighs. Now come back up. Slide your hands up towards your knees and wrap your arms around your knees and give yourself a squeeze. Drop your head and feel that gentle stretch in the back of the neck and keep your attention inside as you rock a bit from side to side, feeling the sitting bones. Sometimes we call them the rocker bones. And just notice how soothing and comforting it feels to rock a little bit from side to side. We love to rock. We love rocking chairs. We love swings. We like to be held in the water when the waves are rocking. Children love to be in the cradle when the cradle's rocking. Bring your hands back behind you and separate your feet. And I'll go sideways so you can really see me. Lift your bottom up off the ground, and this is a tabletop position. And then bring your head back so you're looking up towards the sky. It takes a little strength. Maybe you need to come down before I tell you to come down. That's perfectly fine. And then we'll all return back to that seated position. And then come onto your hands and knees. When you come onto your hands and knees, well, first of all, we know in life, you're lucky if you're playing with little ones and you get to come down onto the ground and be a little playful, and be closer to the earth. But when we're grown-ups, we're usually up on our feet and moving around and doing our work. We hardly ever get down onto the ground. So if this feels really foreign to you, celebrate it. Imagine that you're just a child and you're just enjoying movement. And you're enjoying being close to the ground. When we were kids, we would jump and climb and hang and turn upside down and move all in all directions. So we want to gain that feeling of freedom back. So look down between your thumbs and shift your hips from side to side. Come to the middle and lift your gaze, lift your eyes, and lift your tailbone, and the body creates this U shape. We call this a dog stretch. Its opposite is a cat curl, where you tuck your chin and push up between your shoulder blades and make that rounded back like an angry Halloween cat. Inhale, lift your tail, look up, dog stretch. And round your back, tuck your chin, cat curl. Come back to the center and put your big toes together. Take your knees a little wide and sit your hips back. And this is called child's pose. Put one hand over the other. Put your head down. And just get still and quiet. And if you're in that position of child's pose and your knees feel tender or your hips don't go all the way back to the ground or to your heels, that's perfectly fine. And I will say that again so often, that's perfectly fine. So much in our culture, in our world, we think we have to do more. We have to get better at it. We need to graduate. We need to get to the next level. We need to make it harder so that we work harder. And the beautiful thing about yoga is yoga says, slow down. Do a little less. It's okay to take rest. In fact, you need it. Your body, your mind, your spirit needs rest. So as you hold yourself in your child's pose, take a deep breath in and let out a slow sigh of an exhalation. Tuning into the heartbeat, tuning into the quality of the breath, and coming back to table position on your hands and knees. Take your right leg and stretch it straight back behind you. Then lift the chin slightly and look out towards the end of, well, if you had a mat, and you don't need a mat, by the way, I forgot to say that. Reach your opposite arm out in front and hold. You can turn your palm in and your thumb can come up. And keep breathing so that you're not just holding your breath and muscling your way through. This is going to get you so super strong. Put your hand down, put your knee down, and the opposite side. Send back your left leg and reach out your right hand. Palm in, thumb up. Find a neutral place for your gaze and hold. And then put your hand down and put your knee down and turn your toes under. And lift your hips up. Hang your head. This is called downward dog. Pedal one heel then the other towards the ground. This is a full body stretch. There's a lot happening here. You're getting a little upside down too. Your head is hanging down. Heels sink back. Squeeze the belly in. Come up onto your toes. Come down onto your knees. And a puppy dog stretch. So now your hands go forward. Your hips are high and the brow drops down. This stretch is awesome for the shoulders and upper back. And if your shoulders are feeling super tight, bend the elbows and put your forearms down, bring the thumbs in closer. Sometimes I put the palms together and then lift the thumbs up over the top of the head. Once again, the chance to be down close to the earth. Puppy dog. And then let the hands come down. Come back to table position on your hands and knees. And then come down onto your belly. When you come onto your belly, put one hand over the other and bend your knees. And let the legs just flop from side to side. And then stretch your legs back out behind you. Point your toes back, shins on the ground, and your hands are out alongside your body with the palms facing down. Take a big breath in, and when you exhale, squeeze your bottom a little bit and lift just your head and your chest. This is a back bend. It's the beginning of a posture called belly down boat pose. And then bring your chin down. Take a big breath in. When you exhale, again, you squeeze the bottom just a little bit, not a tight clench. You lift your head, your chest. Can your feet come up? Ooh. Can your arms come up? And look just past your nose so that you're not cranking the back of the neck and balance here. And then gradually come up. Let your hands come and rest. Put your head on your hands. Bend your knees and start to wrap your legs from side to side and just turn your head in the other direction. Coming out of habitual patterns. And then letting your feet fall away. Bring your hands under your shoulders. Come back to child's pose. So you lift up and push back. Put the big toes together. And bring the hips down towards your heels and your head down. You could rest your brow on your hands, or you could have your hands up over your head. And checking in, seeing how you feel. Notice the long line of your spine. And just have a sense of this gentle stretch down the back. And a soft opening through the hips. And from child's pose, push into your hands and come up. And come up onto your hands and knees and bring one foot up and then bring the other foot up. One hand above each knee and start to walk your hands up the fronts of the legs. And guess what? We're standing up now. And when you stand up, shake out your hands and shake out your feet. Put your hands at your hips and circle the hips around. The feet are fairly wide. And just loosen up through those hips. As you just create this, or feel this range of motion that you are creating. And in the other direction. And sometimes it just feels so good to loosen up. Loosen up, lighten up. Good, just like you're in a slow motion hula hoop. Then put your feet so that they are hip width apart, ankles underneath your hips, and hands by your side. Rock from the soles of your feet to the heels, and the toes come up and the toes come down. And then turn the palms out and inhale, reach the arms up and look up. Palms come together. Exhale as the arms come down and you sweep forward and down and reach towards your knees or your shins. And then lift your head and heart. It's a half lift. Fold again. Give a squeeze. Inhale, come up, arms, reach, 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 reach. Look up. Bring your hands together, but this time draw the hands down in front of your heart. Squeeze the quads, draw back your shoulders, lace your fingers into steeple, and slide your thumbs up past your nose and brow and stand in mountain pose. And your gaze is forward. And the legs are firm and strong. You make the shape of the mountain. With your body, you have the sense of stability, strength, longevity. The postures are named for what they look like or what they feel like. Or sometimes they're storytelling, a little mythology. Half moon, you lean to the right, Ardha Chandrasana. You make a little sliver of a crescent moon, that bright light that's leaning into the shadow. And then come back to center and slide across and over to the other side. Come back to the center, open the arms and let them float out, over, and down, and lightly and slowly touch the thighs. Relax your thighs, your knees, your shoulders, and let a layer of tension fall away. Look down. Start to come down into a ragdoll. We're only up on our feet for a few moments. Shake your head out. And then keep coming down. And come back to that cross-legged position. We'll take one more spinal twist. This time, take your right hand to your left knee and look over your left shoulder. And then come around and take your left hand to your right knee and look over your right shoulder. Come back to the center and come down onto the ground, hugging your knees in towards your chest. And rock a little bit from side to side. Stretch your legs straight up to the ceiling. Holding behind the back of the legs, just draw them in slightly towards you. Then bend your knees and put your feet flat down on the ground and your hands by your belly. Let your knees knock in towards each other. One hand rises a little bit more towards the chest area, one hand at the belly. And we'll think about that deep, full breathing that we did earlier, the 3-part breath, so that when you inhale, your belly starts to fill, the ribs, and finally the collarbone. And then everything empties. The belly rises. Ribs. Collarbones. And empty. One more time. Inhaling. Belly. Ribs, collarbone, letting go. A traditional yoga practice always ends with rest. So if you'd like, you could stretch your legs out and let your hands go by your side and wriggle the shoulders a little bit so that you feel some support there. And let everything melt. And if you have the time, take 5 minutes to just rest in what we call Shavasana. Take that time to settle and to absorb the benefits of your practice. Breathing in, knowing that you're breathing in. Breathing out, knowing that you're breathing out. And if the mind starts to wander, which it loves to do, and you find yourself someplace far away, just come back to breathing in. Know you're breathing in. Breathing out. Know you're breathing out. In and out. Peace and ease, comfort, relaxation, letting go. I'll leave you with one more bit about mindfulness, which is that it doesn't have to happen on a mat. It doesn't have to happen in a quiet, peaceful space. Your mindfulness can be when you're dicing vegetables, folding laundry, making beds, commuting in your car, facing a stack of bills at the desk, taking a walk, paying attention on purpose, being aware of your surroundings, observing your mood, observing your thoughts, feelings, emotions, and making appropriate shifts and changes when necessary. And finally, bringing in gratitude. So if you're resting on the ground, bring your attention, or if you're back up on your seat, to your heart center, to the place of compassion, love, to the place of gratitude and appreciation. Quite literally, counting your blessings. And if you're still resting, just rest, you need it. And if you're back up, bring your hands to your heart, thinking about how grateful you are for the abundance, the beauty, and the grace that's in your life. Thinking about others who you love and care for, who you can also bring into this circle of appreciation. And lastly, in the Buddhist tradition of metta, which is loving kindness, thinking about all beings everywhere, that they're happy, healthy, safe, and free from suffering and the causes of suffering. And I end this practice by saying to you, Namaste, which means the light in me sees the light in you. Everyone carries that bright light. And the practices of yoga, meditation, mindfulness have helped to, as they say, the ancient yogis, this practice is nearly 5,000 years old, say that these practices dissolve the veils that obscure your bright light. So step out into this day and shine your light, be grateful, and come back and try this again. Visit me anytime at Heartsong Yoga. Check out our YouTube channel, Heartsong Yoga, YouTube. I'd love to see you. Thanks for letting me into your life, even for just a moment. Namaste.